Fourth game of the day is going to be KAOS versus Rich Gang. In all reality, we were talking about it on the break. This game, in terms of standings, it is what it is. It is the reality. Rich Gang are looking at the first one, KAOS at the bottom of the bracket, or at least from the group. The reality is this. Rich Gang stated that they want to win. Regardless of what points they might get from this one. They don't care. But also you highlighted something, Initialize. KAOS are no longer under pressure. And maybe in my opinion, that's what they need to show themselves for real. No pressure, no anything. Let's just play good old League of Legends and try to take down Rich Gang.
And I think with that in mind as well, we saw in game one that they were willing to try something a bit different to break the Kalista. They went for a Talia Poppy, they went with the Ambessa mid, and I want to see them keep that up. I think I want to see them keep up the creativity, keep up the mindset, because I think if they default to not trying, that's when I get worried. And I think people like Rutso actually had really good games on the Poppy. Really good game on the Poppy. Yeah. I liked a lot of what we saw from that. A lot of the early kills, taking out Laurie, 3 times in the first 10 minutes, was off that Poppy play and that Poppy Rem Taxi as well. Had a really good Wukong game. There are things here that are bright points for KAOS. I just need them to convert that into bright sequences in a game. Bright periods of game. Hell, a bright entire game would be a real good thing.
Staying on the topic of the bot lane for a second, because I was so curious about the Talia pick for a Duffler that I actually went and checked his solo queue story in the meantime. And it looks like it's not just out of, out of the blue pick. He has been practicing those AP AD carries on the bot lane, because look at his history. He has stuff like Victor as an AD carry, Swain, even Lux. So I want to see something like that coming out from Duffler as well, because that is very innovative, I would say, in the bot lane, especially in certain situations like that. Talia definitely had the place in the previous draft, but also from everybody on the team, because I'm best on the mid lane, lovely. Poppy loved it so much. I am looking forward to see what Adafla and Rutsu can pull out when there is no pressure on them.
And when you talk about the bot lane, you want to highlight Adafla. This is interesting because he is the key for victory in terms of damage for this team. But on the other side, Nomi with 33% of damage, with that Swain, with that Varus, all those things are quite pivotal for them to win. So far, it's been terrible to deal with. Then you look into the mid lane, same feeling. Banderas on the top lane, it is what it is, correct?
It is what it is. I don't know. I just want to see this man playing on Fiora again, honestly. It's just...
Banderas.
Banderas. Yes. I would hate to play against him, and I would not envy anybody playing against him, but he's just so fun to watch on champions like that. Champions that can operate in the game on their own.
And again, I think part of what's made Rich Gang so scary is the fact that they can play through any of the lanes. We know Banderas is a win condition if he gets a split push option. We have seen Nomi now have multiple deathless games at a very high level. The Victor is really threatening, but can go towards a Galio as well if you need to play somewhere else. You've got a lot of different ways you can play the game and look to give the driver of the bus to, who is driving this team comp, who's the one with the kills and the ability to take this team in a direction. You've got lots of people who've got their driving licenses. They can take that wheel if you need them to. We ought to wait to get into draft here. Looks like there was a slight issue there, so we'll be going in again in a second or two, so might even get another point in here, guys. That's very exciting.
So what sort of champions are you expecting? Because we already had this Swain on the bot lane, sorry Salari. I don't think you're going to get another Swain today. You get one Swain a day. Okay, it's not bad. But what other champions should we look at?
I would be looking at the Victor yet again, just because we have so many people here who would be happy to play it, and he's just in such good spot in meta. But honestly, I think jungler picks are going to be so interesting, because it feels like the meta is a little bit shy in the current state of the game when it comes to the jungler. So we see the repetitive Vice and the Maokais, but here, especially for the Rich Gang, as a team who is really good with their macro and really good with their timings for all the objectives, I am really curious as to what Nyx is going to be piloting in this game, and if Toxic has any answers, because that Wukong game was frankly very interesting to watch.
Yeah, I would like to double down on that, because I think what we are seeing is a lot of junglers that are very, very strong at first ult moments, or your kind of your first item, first ults. It is your Vi's, your Wukongs, your Skarners, your Maokais. Basically, things that are going to be very strong at fighting around objectives and fighting around Atacama, because it turns out when you're playing for those feats of strength, when you're playing for the regular win condition of the Atacama, champions that thrive in those scenarios are really, really key. And that has often been at the minute from the jungle. So I think we are going to be seeing a lot of the Wukongs, your Vi's, your Maokais for the foreseeable future, with maybe a little bit of a side of something like a Nocturne if you're going for those very specific combos in your drafts. We are now into Champions League proper here, and I'm seeing some very obvious bans on both sides. I don't think it is a surprise to see Swain taken away from Nomi. I don't think it is a surprise to see the Victor taken away from Zuhi and stuff on the other side either.
I told you. I apologize.
At least I see him. It's already good.
Everywhere I look, I see his face. At least then bends. Well,
And that's another phase I see all the time in the bans, by the way. There's Kana. I'm quite happy that he's also removed. But that really limits the first pick opportunities for KAOS. I hope they're going to go with something interesting, but I'm thinking about Vi, for example, being open for them, if that's something they would be looking into.
the Wukong is also available. We had a lot of
Yeah, you don't be happy to trade either.
level
Oh,
6.
true.
And it does feel that whenever Vi is meta, Wukong tends to be right alongside her, because in some ways they operate slightly differently, but they're certainly within the same kind of wheelhouse as champions. And Bessa as a first pick is an interesting one, but again, this is KAOS. We've already seen it be a flex for this team. And it was only they played it mid earlier today, but Aurora is another one of those flex options. Is very, very strong right now, so I wouldn't be surprised to see that locked in, but something like a Viego would make some sense too if they're wanting that more carry-oriented option for Nyx, who's already looked really good on the champion.
You already have that. If you bring more power like this, like the Varus, I don't know what sort of build we're going to see it, but you can play for the reset city. That would be interesting for Witch Gang. And since they're so prominent on those team fights, maybe that's the key for victory here. Now, KAOS, can you fight that? Can you bring bulkiness and try to not give any reset? Because you already have the Ambessa, you can flex it around. But what is your second key on this puzzle?
They can add a little bit of front line right here. They have a lot of options, especially, for example, they rotate Ambessa from the top lane. They are going to go with the body in the end, and I quite like it because we have Viego right on the side of Reachgang, and I'm assuming because Viego doesn't want to be the only one going into the enemies, he wants somebody else to be engaging alongside with him, and that is exactly what Aurora is really good into, those champions, so she can lock in and stop their engage on the spot.
Stop the disengage a little bit as well, because one of the things with Viego is he's actually quite hard to lock down. Much like something like we brought it up a lot now, but the Wukong and things like that, your ability to ult away from danger, to have your mist and your spectral maul, your dash on the E, you're quite hard actually for as a jungler to lock down on a consistent basis. And instead, we are going to see here our AD carry and locked in for the side of KAOS and the Ezreal, and away on the other side is two long-range artillery pieces, trying to match range there on both sides. So I'll grant you the Varus, call it a Vi. The Varus will also be at a longer range point as well, which is giving Rich Gang a fairly good backline range access right now.
So bulkiness for Witch Gang will start after this. They already have the damage that they need. They just need to provide some safety nets for these champions. On the other side, though, there's no jungler. I was thinking like maybe Witch Gang could go and tackle that champion pool. Unless Ambessa is taking that role. I've seen it. I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying it's bad. I've said I've seen it. But they're actually tackling on the support role.
I like the Alistar ban here because, yet again, I am assuming that there is going to be something like Rel, for example, for Eski, something of that sort. They want to make sure that there is no additional tools for carries to stop their engage, because they want to be working around their ultimates, around the chains of corruption, around Viego, of course, and they really don't want these chains to be disturbed.
And with the Wukong ban as well there, the pool for taxing is definitely a lot smaller than it was. You could look towards something like the Vi is probably one of the premier options still up and available. We've mentioned it a few times already. On the other side, KAOS got rid of some of those quintessential. There we go, that's the term I want to go for. Banderas champions. The Renekton is a fair weather option. The Fiora, a little bit more niche, especially because they are on the red side, and it will give that counter pick option, but he's not going to need it. He's just saying, I'm going to take Darius, and whether it's an Aurora or an Ambessa or whatever else it may be, this is what I want to play.
Ambessa has movement. Well, he ghosts. That's the reply, I guess. We saw the new trailer, so maybe Maybe we get an arcane buff for the Dotties. I hope not. Regarding KAOS, they're looking into Talia. We've seen it before, but wouldn't that be quite squishy? Okay. He was made for this.
Okay.
Literally.
Okay.
It's not what we
Massive team fight.
expected, but yeah.
Also, really good at threatening Varus and Hui. Very hard to get away from a Zac. And especially if you have bad wards or not warding your Zac engage angles, which are just very distinctive to Zac. It's similar to things like Rek'Sai, right? You just come from angles that no one else is expecting. You could really threaten those very immobile backline options. Add in a Nico as well for a little bit more of that kind of, I've turned into a random creature and you have no idea what I am. That could be really fun to watch.
Yes, we were hoping for this, weren't we? We were hoping that KAOS would bring out something. They would cook yet again and bring out something absolutely unexpected. I am loving this last 2 picks from them. This Nico is going to look so spicy here because it's yet again the champion who answers really well into the engage of the enemies, but also can start the engage together with the Zac and with Ambessa. That's a much more well-rounded composition despite the unusual picks.
I agree. It's your off-brand Amumu, and it can be annoying to deal with on the bot lane. Leona might want to engage, but then you have to think, well, which one is the real Nico? Or why is the ward moving away from me? With that in mind, Rich Gang is now locked in. KAOS as well. I want to get predictions. Let's make it spicy before we toss it into the game. We're just waiting for everybody to load in. Initialize. I'll start by Solari.
Okay. I want to add some KAOS, and I'm gonna say that KAOS are going to win this one, which is unrealistic judging, just on paper. But looking at this draft, I think it's a fun one. I think they have so many ways to play around it that it could actually lead to them winning.
Hey, sometimes all you need is fun. Tell me, Initialize.
Yeah.
I think I favor Rich Gang, but I once again want to credit KAOS for coming up with a draft that makes sense and is a bit creative. You can threaten the Hui and the Varus this game, and that could be really fun here. Go on, KAOS, at least throw a few curveballs in. I'm looking forward to it.
We all expect at least a fun game as we toss it to the 4th one. We still have another one after this, as Venom Crest will take on Ruddy. But now all eyes on this one as we toss it to Duckling and Jamada.
Thank you very much. And after, Jamada, 3 games with huge implications on the standings, the first 2 locking teams in their place, and, the first 3 all locking individual teams in their place, right? This 4th one is one where, you zoom out, you look at it,
burger.
and you want to see absolute cinema. I want to see a game where I hope everyone has fun, but I want to see 10 kills at 10 minutes, at the least, at the very least.
If there was ever a game to finally get Ruinous Atacon in, it's this one. If we could get the other Atacon, it's this game. And it's I don't know if we're gonna have or see an opportunity for that to occur for a very long time. Right? We've got Darius versus Ambessa in the game. We've got a Zac against Squishy backline that's very immobile. This might be the chosen game. I like how the desk was kind of summing off and rounding out on the KAOS composition though, because Zac is one of those kind of champions where I think for some people who've been kind of theory crafting the fearless side of things, especially over in the LPL where it's best of 5, there's a couple of junglers over there like Tarzan, I think, is one that most people will probably think of as someone to go, Zac is maybe a good angle here, right? Once we hit like game 4, game 5, and there's very immobile champs in the back line rather. So very nice to see it come out here, and a game that doesn't really have too many stakes. Again, as kind of highlighted by the desk, because of how all the head-to-heads fall, we're not going to go into the exact details because we would actually be here for a little longer than we'd have to be. Though, as I say it, we do have a tech pause right now, so we're hoping to iron that out. Rich Gang locked first, just for confirmation, so everyone's on the same page. Rich Gang locked first, no matter what. They can lose this game, they can lose it in 15 minutes, wouldn't matter. KAOS, same deal, locked in last place in this group. So, really, this is a for the love of the game, right? And we're kind of just seeing how these 2 teams are going to play with effectively no pressure on their shoulders.
Yeah, that's like when you go into Sunday League or whatever and you see someone former professional show up, they're not here for the money, they're here for the love of the game. Yeah. I mean, you could maybe argue Jamie Vardy is doing that right now, 38, still kicking it, for the love of the game and for the love of Leicester, for him at the very least. Yep. Regardless though, it's certainly a game where you hope everyone has fun. I want to see kills, I want to see action, and I think, the thing you touched upon in terms of Atacon, there's a certain conversation to be had there. It is extremely hard to get the other Archon to spawn. The one who gives you, you know,
Yeah.
25% more buffs on any other buff that you gain, and a whole heap of petals. Or dead blood roses, I think they're called.
Blood roses. I can't remember the exact terminology. Blood roses that give you blood petals, or you guys know what the mechanics are. The names are semantics, right? Semantic. That said, of course, that we have an opportunity to see some funny League of Legends, and I think these two compositions offer up that opportunity more than we will probably get to see for a long time. Again, Darius Ambessa in the top side, you got some Noxus action going, very topical, of course, and with that Zac having the engage the way that he does against immobile carries, and also Retsuo on the Nico, I think is also something you got to highlight. Very big possibilities for early bloodshed. Very cool. The Ataclan gets decided at 14 minutes, right? I want to say what version of it will spawn, so we're gonna need some action to happen fast.
Yeah.
Because we've seen games hit 20 minutes and it's a 20 kill game almost.
And they're like, nah.
And it's like, nah, we still don't get it. So hopefully it all works out. But for now, as we wait for this pause, one can only hope.
Yeah, one can also only hope that this pause will end soon. I'll keep you updated when we get any news either fed into us in our ears or anywhere else. So just to regroup on what has happened, what are the locked outcomes? You mentioned a bit earlier, right? Rich Gang locked in first, KAOS locked in 5th, and DMG are now also locked in 4th. That was due to the outcome of the last game. And what does that mean? Well, it means that in terms of seeding, that Rich Gang will get the, on paper, easiest opponent, the 4th seed from Group A. We don't know who that will be yet. Tomorrow's tiebreaker will decide that. KAOS will go straight into the losers bracket, where they'll play a best of 5 against one of the losers in the upper bracket. If they lose that, their tournament will already be over. Whereas DMG are guaranteed to be facing off against Los Ratones in the first round of the upper bracket. And the two final spots, what do they decide? Well, again, we don't know who the second place will be playing. That depends on the tiebreakers on Friday. But the third place, so the loser of the next game, will have to play Nord. So certainly not some easy matchups, since there's plenty of motivation to avoid them. But for now, no need to stress about that. I'm stressed about who will finish second or third. That is none of our worries right here, as this time we have some technical time to think about things, maybe not just League of Legends related. I think, Jamadi, you have had a brilliant day yourself, right, with some Ninja Gaiden games being announced.
Yeah, earlier on, or I guess we could talk about it. I'm an old head now to the young kids. So some of you might not be aware of a little franchise called Ninja Gaiden. There was a Xbox little games showing tell thing where they finally announced that game came back out after 13 years of no games in the franchise. So if you heard me sounding a little bit out of voice after game 2, that might be why. So that was something that was very incredible. And they dropped a remaster for the second game today.
It's crazy.
It's
crazy.
Such a cool shadow drop to also just have up your sleeve to tie over the immediate, like, oh my god, the 4th game's coming out. Oh, you can play the second one.
I mean, it is
up-to-date graphic.
That was certainly chaos in the green room.
It was chaos in the green room. Yeah,
I think I was told to shut up, and then you started screen sharing immediately. Like, look at this, take a look. Regardless, though, we are finally into the game, and with that, the conversation can return to topic, as League of Legends will now be unfolding on our screens. Before I was more nervous about what this meant for the outcome. This time I'm excited. I want to see action. I want to see bloodshed. I want to see people die left, right, and center.
Blood for the Blood God, man.
Yeah. Do it for Anakan. Do it for him.
Yeah, do it for him. Bringer of Ruination.
I am kind of disappointed no early invade. I did expect some chaotic level ones, but I guess we'll have to hold on to that for now. I want to see some good individual performances here as well, right? I think Suhi is someone I heard a lot about coming into the split from the Danish scene, having absolutely dominated when he was in the National League in Denmark. So the first 2 games we saw him hasn't been anything to write home about. Let's say it like that. But I hope this game is one where we really see, his mechanical ceiling being at the level I know it can be.
He gets an opportunity to step up. Like you say, been muted so far. Only his fault, but just the way it can go. you start to lose across the map. Banderas gets a very favorable trade early on, rocking all 5 stacks. So Turtle has gone for the more defensive setup, right? Grasp has that D shield. Biscuits also hit his inventory, and likely, I don't recall seeing it, so I'll say he has that second wind. You can see bone plating come up. We'll just get through those kind of small moments of poke. Just try and keep Banderas at as much a distance as he can.
I mean, I'm no lore expert in League of Legends, but I'm pretty sure it's a lore accurate fight up in the top lane. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if those two at some point got in a battle between who was supposed to lead Noxus. Regardless though, I mean, if you're looking at the lore, one of them is also dead, so many things can be said about that, right? I mean, sorry if you haven't watched Arcane yet, to be honest, that would be a massive spoiler, but then again, it's January, then it's your fault.
It's January.
Get a grip.
Like, if you're watching esports and you've not watched Arcane yet, I feel like it might be your fault, right?
Yeah, it's definitely their fault. I mean, even my dad has watched it already, so they need to get a grip. Regardless though, I mean, so far, disappointing lack of action, but I think if you zoom out of the implication of standings, right, obviously Rich Gang want to go into the knockout stage with a 4-0, a clean sweep, just like Lost Ratones did in Group A. While for KAOS, I mean, you know, getting a win here would be very nice to get your confidence up before you're gonna play a do-or-die best-of-5 in playoffs.
Exactly right. You want to enter playoffs with at least 1 win under your belt.
Yeah.
Just as a feel-good kind of moment. And KAOS have had their fair share of, you know, okay-looking moments, but generally speaking, it's been a bit doomer, to put it a little politely. But again, an opportunity with this kind of composition and the kind of backline that Rich Gang are running to really throw a big spanner in the works and at the very least maybe disturb Rich Gang's current lossless form.
Yep. So either the streaks continue or they both break in this game. As sadly, I'm very much pessimistic about the chances of the other Articans spawning this game. I'm, you know, optimistic though for first blood here. As I mean, Horror just finds the solo kill. I was thinking top lane as I saw the ghost did get popped, and I might still be right there. One flash cube, but that was what was that? Absolute shocker there from him as somehow what happened.
Well, Mr. Banderas may have misjudged where his flash was going and maybe how big that Q range was, because it wasn't great here. He's still got that brief bit of an XP lead from zoning Turtle off waves earlier. The thing he has to worry about, of course, though, is that Taxvig could come off his Gromp and just run top. So,
I mean,
the longer he's here, the bigger the risk he runs.
Sure. On the bot lane now, I think we have a Ratsua who is in, no trouble. He's just taken down, and the chaos finally starting to unfold here, as that's the first kill for actually Eski this game. Eyes back on top lane. Come on, man. Go at it. Oh, we see a replay of... Is that a... Oh, it's a replay.
It's a pip of the solo kill.
I thought for a minute we was about to see, you know, round 2 electric boogaloo, but Suhi played a bit more safe this time around, as Nix will now say hello to Taxi. A level advantage here on the jungler who's been farming all game, as Ratsu is rotated up as well. Nix though, able to get level 5 as he steals a few of those small raptors. Yeah, so this is looking good for Rich Gang so far, if we were to put it like.
Yeah, it's not looking too bad at all. No flash.
No flash.
Zac doesn't quite reach.
Actually there, as now the combo comes through, the damage is there. Sui will take a bit in return, but isn't really in danger of dying unless he looks for the re-engage. But no, doesn't do that, as Nix will also back off and stop the play right there. So KAOS now on the board, kill in the right player's pockets as Suhi gets his first of the game.
Yeah, and really good flash from Taxvig over the fear from Ho-Ho. Just to kind of confirm he can at the very least get the slowdown, right? And then that enables the rest of KAOS to catch up. So good job there. As Banderas continues to make his presence known in the top side. Still got that level lead. There's like call out bottom lane. All alone Nomi is.
What the hell? 2 sacks on the dive as well. Nomi, flash and barrier available. Will use the flash. The barrier could come up as well. I mean, I think he holds on to it. No, he wants to use it here, and he does do pretty well, but only forces the passive out. As I do believe Taxi is out of turret range on a few of those and able to escape both some burn as well as Nomi desperately tried to survive. It's not over yet though, as Ho and Eski rotating down to not really find anything as Banderas. Is this Bowser watching? He's proxying.
There's still proxy going. I mean, he's in such a big lead. Why not? He knows where everyone else is. Probably has to come off the back of this wave proxy to recall though. Understands. Suzuki should be fine.
Yeah,
a little bit of poke damage. Understood that, yeah, KAOS going to reset after their play bot. Can't play for another wave. Be a little bit too greedy. Nick's nice little show of face in the mid lane, and that bit of poke and presence there with Nomi returning to the bottom side. Everything just lines up for a Rich Gang Dragon start. There's a contest. I was going to say it could be on the cards, but then I looked at the minimap, saw where Taxvig was. I rescind that statement immediately. Should just be a very free dragon for Nyx to pick up. Rich Gang will get themselves on the board, and they picked up 3 grubs too, so that's 2 objectives. 1 more away from those feats of strength. Of course, always very nice to know that you do end up picking them up.
And if I'm not mistaken, what we saw before was Nomi's first death in NLC history, actually. So history has already been made in this game as a potential another 1v1 up in the top lane, or I've changed my mind, it's a 1v2 as good amount of damage from Banderas does. Maybe make Taxvig question this engage, but the ultimates are there. And I mean, the public execution comes through. The damage should be enough as the bleed. No! Banderas! The ticking! The damage! One more auto needed! Gets it! And finds the solo kill in the 1v2.
Goodness me, I think if Banderas with a little bit of taunted.
I love this guy.
He's ever the emotive. I think that was maybe, I'm pretty sure there's ways you could have played that to have even killed Taxvig, not to take away from the play. It was excellent to get the 2v1 turnaround, but let's just take a look at the apprehend goes wide. A little bit unlucky, but he gets a very fast 5-stack, immediately ults, and you'll see, honestly, Darius OTPs do that quite a bit just for the poke damage. Q connects onto Taxvig as he lands. As we've actually got to get a picture-in-picture. Some stuff is going on maybe in the bottom lane.
Oh, he gets the Q heal on both of them, and that's
very close.
Yeah, then Turton simply being run down. We know Turton's not the fastest animal on the planet, so no way out of that one as Taxvig now paying a visit to the mid lane, and it fails miserably by the looks of things. Ho gets low, but never really in danger of dying. The reset from Nyx won't lead to more as he can't connect on the stretching strike, and with that, the play ends.
Gotta say, Zac looks really weird in that skin when he's being possessed by Viego.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure what it is, but the between the base of the skin and the textures of, I'm not actually sure what skin is Viego. Is it the that's World's Viego, I want to say, most recent one. So yeah, it just looks so strange. I just don't quite get to see those particle effects go up. As we pan up to the top side yet again, and Banderas now has a full level lead over Turtle. Bit of a rough time Turtle is having, unfortunately.
Yeah. It's a low accurate time for him. Besser, didn't have the best time in Arcane towards the end of it, so yeah, maybe it fits. Story checks out. Regardless, though, I think, I don't know if this saying is from football or just from real life, but I've heard it a lot, when it comes with football clubs potentially reuniting with old players, right? Never go back to your ex. And Banderas, after 3 years stint, returning to his ex here in Rich Gang, helped them qualify into the Norwegian League, won the Norwegian League with them as well in a huge upset back in 2021, but has gone on to greener pastures since, you can say, winning the NLC and doing well for himself. So returning into Rich Gang, I was a romantic, right? Believing this was the right decision, but so far my rose-tinted glasses have proven right as he's been absolutely brilliant on this Rich Gang roster.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I mean, in general, this roster would have been, pre the new age of the NLC, with all of the very welcome additions, like the streamer teams and such. Towards the point, fight can be breaking out.
Yeah, and it seems to have already ended. Ratsuo is dead. Taxvig next on the menu. The question just is if it's a open buffet, and it turns out not to be, as he's able to flash away to safety. Nomi not quite able to get the kill despite the flash forward. The game still within reach for KAOS, but it's slipping through their hands when they get caught like this.
Yeah, very, very quickly. So looking for a play alongside, I want to say it was Jungler and Rich Gang. Do their due diligence, just check it out, have a ward there, and
that's feats of strength.
Much nip the bud, play of the bud, or nip the bud of the plate. Pardon. Like you call out, feats of strength collected.
I think he's dead.
That's a dead Zoo.
He's just dead.
That,
sweet. Oh,
Look.
that feels so bad, man.
Look,
That's horrible.
he's
Now in the
dancing on him.
1v2.
Got W
I
up
mean,
for
the
speed
Norwegian
as well.
magician is
Oh.
dancing his way around these fights, it seems, as he still holds on to the flash, not worried for a single second.
I mean, look, Zuhi, if you watch this back and it makes you feel any better, Perks is, MSI champion, Worlds finalist, and he made the exact same mistake like 40 minutes ago.
I saw what he wanted to do, though. He wanted to be like in the travel, right? Just like when you're in Aram and you dodge the Kathas ultimate and the Hex Gates.
Yeah, exactly. You want to try and exactly. So you want to try and dodge the damage you are briefly on target, right? So my expectation would be, unless it's channeled like a tether, which is pretty plausible to be fair.
Yeah.
Try and dodge out on the explosion and the damage, or if Ho being the level he is would have had a QW also available, then it makes it very hard to get a confirmation on that exact position to place it. So saw the idea, execution just falls short, fortunately for Zuhi, and now sits a whole level down on Ho. Feels a little bit bad for him, and the rest of KAOS is Rich Gang looking to do setup around this dragon and get a fight going. Ho just needs maybe 15 or 20 seconds till he has that ultimate, but nonetheless, Rich Gang with the pressure they have gonna kick this one up.
I mean, KAOS, if they wanted to, had a few tools to try and contest this, but they won't end up doing it. Second Drake now for Rich Gang. They've gotten pretty much everything on the map, and the gold lead is ever so slowly, growing in their favor as they feel more confident in the game as they get further and further ahead. Wow, yeah. I'm still mesmerized after what we saw before. Zuhi in a bit of trouble here again. Yeah, able to get out with the use of his own ultimate, but that's a sign of desperation, right? Being forced to use it defensively now 2 times in a row in this 1v1 where Ho simply has Zuhi's number.
Best of all. Zuhi being constantly pressured here. Again, I feel like at the very least, the difference is that, functionally for KAOS, if they ever do get the group, which at the pace of this game we may not see, but of course, Aurora's job in most teamfight setups is very, very simple. Just hit R on as many people as you can, right? That is your entire function. You really set up for other members. As long as you can get that done, you'll feel okay about how the early game has gone. If KAOS can start to find positive fights, but for the time being, everything is coming up Rich Gang.
Now, Rich Gang certainly reached this game as they are ahead, right? I mean, today was a day where they would be expected to win both games, but it is seriously impressive to see them having locked that first seed, and these serious performances are continuing here again. The public execution of Turtle's got it though. One more turret jet is all he needs, and the shutdown gets found. A bit of redemption here for the KAOS top laner. Still though, caught underneath the turret that won't be standing for much longer. His fate was always sealed as Ho is now on a killing spree.
Now on a killing spree, but I'm not even sure what he messed up there, but he messed something up, right? To not get the full 5 stacks down onto Turtle underneath that dive, but also public execution as CC preventing his death immediately. Gets the trade out for the 1-for-1, which doesn't feel too bad, especially when you get to cross map on the other side. A little bit slow, but still, power gold. Gold when you're behind, right? One-to-ones like this are always up trades at the end of the day, and of course, in this case, it's more numbers also kind of funneled into that play from Rich Gang. So they also feel pretty damn okay. And the gold does start to extend a little bit for Ardafla, right? 1-to-1. That feels nice, but then you look at the rest of the map where it's 1k gold lead. On the opposite end for not for Ho, but rather for Nyx, and then almost a 2k gold lead for Ho.
Yeah, that gold in the mid lane feeling particularly hard to overcome, right? As we've seen Ho really just take control of this game, and he's rotating around. He's the one claiming the gold, and he's able to clear the wave so easily, so has so much time as well to spread his influence across the map. Zuhi now finding himself in a 1v1 here against Banderas on the bot side, and I'm not sure he would win this one either, as at the very least he has a bit of a range advantage, right, to play around.
Yeah, for the time being, it does feel nice, and it can be a little bit difficult to drop. I beg your pardon, to drop out of a fight when you're melee against Aurora. Axvig looking to see if Nomi was seeing any deep up in that lane, but he wasn't.
Yeah, I think Taxi's too far forward here, though. The CC chain is massive. Does have the passive good. Two-man Pop Blossom and Artifler doing good damage, and Nixie's not dead quite yet, but here comes Sui. Finally, they get some kills on the board. KAOS. Taxi still alive, just resurrected from the passive, and Artifler dishing out the autos, claims the double kill. Ho though, here to try and turn around the fight. Good damage from him so far, as Artifler desperately trying to win the 1v1. One more Mystic Shot can't do it as the kill gets secured. The shutdown is claimed, and Ho continues to reign on the Rift.
Yeah, excellent stuff. Rotation from Ho. Well, you can see that, the promise of this team fight potential from KAOS as Banderas. How much has he got in him here?
Does have the ultimate, and the bleed, is it enough?
Yeah.
Is there anything for Turtle to do? Is he? He doesn't have the E up. The cooldown was too long, and Banderas, walks away a happy man.
Excellent stuff. I'll daffle up. Steps forward of Taxfig here, and this is what I was talking about, right? All it takes is a good ultimate from Zuhi to really get things going, and actually initially it's Ratsuo, but it's about the follow-up that comes after. So it's 2 men on the front line. That feels great. Nomi's untouched, though, but when this ultimate comes in from Zuhi and the combo onto Nomi as well, fight looks playable, right? And that's what we're really looking for. Yes, it's not clean 5v5.
Oh, Artifler, man.
But at the end of the day, it's the best you can really hope for. And Ardafla just doesn't quite have
close.
that last Q in him as Ho beats him to the draw.
Yeah, has to put on some super carry Yesru performance here. Maybe something like Noah in regular season has been able to put on in the NLC on this champion. Artifler, though, definitely showing his strength this game. And Ratsu able to find some good engages. Now they look to try and caught out Banderas, but instead it gets turned around on them and Taxi gets obliterated, blown to pieces. As the play ends, Drake is up and will be claimed. I would not question it. And I think Rich Gang will also claim the Herald afterwards.
They should indeed. Everything, again, going in favor of Rich Gang. And the result, well, it's not finalized by any means. Still got the entire inner set of towers and base to destroy, but I think going par for the course for what we were expecting out of this matchup so far. There's Banderas and Turtle going at it again, 1v1.
Yep. There is no doubt about who will be winning this. They're dancing around the Christmas tree for a bit, trying just to buy time for Turtle. There is no way out. You know what's gonna happen. Demacian Justice, not Demacian Justice rather, but the Noxian Guillotine wasn't even needed.
Yeah. It's a pretty one-sided 1v1, unfortunately.
Yeah. Not much play-by-play to be done there. We all knew the outcome, right? As, this game... I have hope when Artifler is in the fights, but those will be ones where you see a goalie with 3k between the two champions. The writing is on the wall, but I am definitely not doubting that if KAOS find the right fight, they can still find a footing in this game or find a chance to make something happen. Artifler and his 2 items spike, Ratsu and Suhi, these ultimates connect in unison. Good damage there as well, but it is not 1 in a million. But certainly would require the perfect team fight for KAOS to swing this goal lead that quickly back in their favor, to say the least.
Yep. 100% Duckling. And the problem also now lies as, new season fun is what it is. Atacon's up, right? So you've got Atacon on the top side up, which Rich Gang no doubt will play for. And then Dragon Spawn's 3 minutes after. Or in 3 minutes and 20 seconds, not directly after Atacon.
He's able to get out this time. There is a slight worry that even if Tex V is the tank, that if he gets caught out by that CC chain, he is not long for this world. There are, you'd think, no neutrals to play around at this point with both the Herald and Drake just being taken, but Artican is up on the map, and it really very much feels like, to me, that 9 out of 10 games get decided by that. Because the team that gets the Artican and gets the withdrawal, they just snowball the lead that they already had even further, or the team comes back. At the very least, though, a very, very aggressive dive here from KAOS as Taxi just dies. TP coming through as well. This could turn out to be a disaster showing. Artifler forced to try and carry this, but his team is falling to pieces. Ratsuo only finds Slicks with that knock-up, and KAOS goes too far forward, and they get punished heavily. That's Artican already decided.
Yep. Atacon's gone. There's not a lot of analysis to follow up on this play. Ardafla might be gone.
Might just be gone as well. Forced to flash as... Ho is so fed. Oh, does go wide. But it is the same old Atacon we see time in, time out here in competitive. And with that withdrawal, this goal lead set to become insurmountable. As Rich Gang, quick reset and then back out on the map. And yeah, let's just take a look at it one more time, Tomato.
At least he got Nomi's flash. You know, like at least he got that one down. Hands over the form, however, to Nyx, who finds the Q onto Zuhi, gets the double head knock, and Ratsu off the back of it. So yeah, maybe it wasn't worth getting Nomi's flash, as the Atacon buff has also been secured, and it's 90 seconds now till Ocean. I'm just wondering. Not really a lot, actually. I'm not wondering a lot. I think I know what the result of this game is. I'm trying my best.
I'm wondering when Ninja Gaiden 4 will release in 2025.
Yeah,
that's probably what's going
that's where my mind keeps
now.
going to. Like,
I mean,
you know, once work's done, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm booting up that second game remaster. And I'm having a very good,
let's see,
relaxing evening.
Let's see how Rich Gang close this out, or if there is any miracles to be had. I mean, some people say it's the hope that kill you, but as someone who, likes to be hopeful and dream ambitious, even I wouldn't be, positive enough to see an easy way out of KAOS to win this game, or for KAOS to win this game. I do see one shining light though, and that is Artifler. Another kill here would be great, but yet again, it would only be the withdrawal, dude. Withdrawal is just so giga broken, man. I mean, when you're already ahead, what can you do here? You can get a clean ace and it wouldn't matter at all. Let's look what Sue tries to do. A brilliant engage. It's exactly what they needed. It is so good for KAOS. But what do they gain? They gain 400 gold, man. It is a scam. Dude, Atacon is broken.
Atacon is very broken. I don't know. I really don't know what to say about this buff.
It's frustrating. That was the engage they needed. They found everything they could have possibly wanted, and it doesn't change anything.
It's too powerful. And I mean, look, like even Banderas has made a fairly big error here, and he's
gonna win this. He's gonna get the ball.
Oh no. Well.
Oh, that hurts so much, man. That hurts so much.
Alright, I'm going to pose a question to chat. I know obviously we are on a bit of a delay. What was worse? Chemtech Soul or Atacon? And we know what Chemtech Soul we're talking about. It's the zombie revive one. That one or Atacon? Because I feel like whenever the balance is disturbed, right? Whenever death as a mechanic is disturbed through a system change, it always just seems to not be balanced. I don't know what else to say. It's almost as if the formula they have is kind of good. Generally speaking, it's kind of alright.
It feels so unfair because, I mean, obviously Rich Gang overextending because they know they have to withdraw, but KAOS found, the miracle, and it doesn't pay out anything. Even next patch, I mean, yes, you get 200 gold per kill, but that's not going to change anything. Look at the tempo. It is still Rich Gang with the control. And Ratsuo finds another 3-man engage. Is this enough? This time, there are no withdrawals, baby. That found 3 already. Could they get more? Eski able to get up for now. Ratsuo with the brilliant engage.
We see you, KAOS. We acknowledge your engage. And Baron is up, so if there was ever a time to man a potential comeback, it is at 10,000 gold down, and with no enemy jungler on the map. So, let's see if they can get this one down. It's only Eski and Banderas. As I say, look at the mini-map. Turtle's got to deal with that bot wave. It's a 2v4 on the Baron with a very, very fed Ocean Soul Darius, who's at 3 ions.
I mean, he is so strong. They have to try and get Banderas to make this work, but initially the CC misses. He needs to be CC chained, locked up, and put in an insane asylum because he's about to pull out a 1v9 performance. He's got one. He's still alive. Banderas refuses to die. He simply cannot be killed. He's still pretty much untouched. And KAOS, I saw the hope, I saw the light, but Banderas had other ideas. Still though, the fight not quite over. The apprehend misses. The shutdown is secured. The Baron though will not be claimed. Banderas did enough. Horhor's in the base, and he wants to end this game right here, right now.
He's gonna get the tower, maybe at the very least. Maybe the minions with the grub damage will do the trick. Turtle's got to step back. Ultimate goes wide there by Horhor. And it doesn't matter. More damage. Done.
Yeah. The Nexus turret respawning soon. Artifler, you cannot die now. Sui looking for Ho-Ho, does do a
lot
decent
of
amount of
damage.
damage. He has no flash. I don't think this fight is over. Arozzi is on
TPs.
3 items. It is not over. You remember the good old Instalot song, you know? Oh, wait, what is... Kate, no! Turtle! 2 for forward. I was giving you hope, guys, and instead, they just run into the meat grinder of Nomi. And now Artifler, left with an a task he simply cannot cloud. It is insurmountable odds. Even Leicester City wouldn't beat those odds. 5,000 to 1 would be too kind on them. As Artifler locked up and looks to be taken down. He is chained to the ground and put 6 feet under. A good amount of damage back from Ratsua, but there's nothing to do. The game got entertaining for a minute, but Banderas slammed it back in KAOS' faces as Rich Gang end the group stage undefeated.
Undefeated. Rich Gang. I mean, it's clean. As clean as you'd want a stump like this to be at the very least. And yeah, not much to really add. KAOS will remain, of course, in 4th place. Or in 5th place, rather. Bottom of the group. And with Rich Gang topping the group with that lossless record. Good stuff. Yeah. Full domination from the Rich Gang lineup.
I had hope. I had hope for that tiny bit, but when you saw one Banderas queue around the Baron, had they gotten the Baron, this game would still have been going and there would have been some more action. But instead, no, the game is over. Doesn't change anything for standings, but I do think there are some slight positives here that KAOS can take moving forward, heading in to the playoffs. Regardless though, enough of that game from us. Now the analysts will break it down and get ready for the final game, which will decide the 2nd seed, as it's a UK derby between Ruddy Sec and Venom Crest. Ashram, take it away.
Thank you so much. And as they stated, it was clean until one point, and then it kind of got clean. It's a dirty clean, but it's still a victory for them. And with that in mind, KAOS are locked out, obviously, on that last position. And Rich Gang are really comfortable with this 4-0. We finally get 2 teams with 4-0 in this format. I mean, what do we have to say? Rich were like pedal to the metal non-stop.
I mean, can I just say that Rich Gang just showcased to us in this game that they're spot number 1 in their group for a reason, because they were so... It's annoying how clean they are in their priorities in the game. They always make sure they have the gold lead. They are extremely clean about their objective timers. I don't know. They just know when and where they need to be at any given point in the game.
Are you disappointed, Initialize? I was looking into your face.
I think part of it as well is, once again, KAOS drafted a really cool concept in terms of how we are going to manage the backline. But they never really got to a 5v5 that mattered. Because actually a lot of the plays happened in the 1v1s, they happened in the 2v2s. Look, topside Banderas getting away with kills in 1v2 scenarios on the Darius. How many times? Those kind of moments aren't really down to team comp. They aren't down to the matchups even. Sometimes it's just individual play, and that's really frustrating, because I actually think there were some moments here where KAOS did have a little bit of a spark. It came a little bit later on. They found that miracle engage, and then Duckling lost his mind and said, they found everything and got like 300 gold out of it because it's the Atakan buff. And then just after that, obviously the Nico finds a monster engage and they get to go towards Baron, and it doesn't matter because Ocean Soul's already on Darius, who then just walks at you and doesn't die. So you're like, there were moments for KAOS, but again, they are moments. They aren't connected. They aren't a sequence. And there are issues beyond the compositions and the concepts they are coming up with.
I think that's a big take. You get those moments, but what do you do with them? That's the complicated part. That's important to talk as well. But also to talk with us, we have Zealous, who is waiting for the interview. Welcome, obviously, with a big smile, extremely comfortable. You got what you wanted, didn't you? You got what you wanted, the photo. Talk to me a little bit about it before we move on. I have other questions, but how does this photo feel?
Yeah, it feels really good. I mean, there's still always things to work on, and as a coach, I will never truly be happy until we win everything. Until. But I mean, we'll enjoy this evening at least.
It's also interesting because from one side they already know their opponent. From your point of view as Rich Gang, you don't know your opponent yet. You still have to wait until tomorrow, so the tiebreakers come in. Is there any of those teams you would like to face to start off playoffs?
I mean, everyone is like really strong. I think across the board, like the NLC looks better this year than any other. So I think no matter what, we're definitely due for hard work and improvement. I wouldn't mind playing light side. There's an old buddy there in the coaching staff that I would love to butt head with, and I would just enjoy that experience altogether, and it would be fun as well.
You brought up something that I wanted to ask you specifically. You got to watch both groups. You're the last group, and well, we do have tiebreakers tomorrow, but this is the last group nonetheless. What is your takeaway as a coach from the NLC this year as we move on to Fearless of all modes?
I mean, I've been watching for a long time, and I've been following the league, and there's always interesting players, but I think this year not only is everyone better, not only is it more engaging to follow even more than ever before. I'm just looking forward to seeing what will happen in the future, and how everyone else is shaping up. So I think playoffs will be banger no matter what.
Is it possible to steal from you a hot take as we're about to jump into playoffs? I want a hot take.
Okay, we're actually going
Come on!
Okay, all of the tier listers were like, oh, this Verdant team, they're like top 4, maybe top 3. I think I'm looking forward to playing those guys. Let me just say that, you know? I think we have a really good chance to contest the top 4 in that.
Okay. I like to hear that. Zealous, we're one game away from repping. Oh, 2 hot takes? Okay.
Yeah. Ho, top 2 mid laners in the league.
Now we're talking.
Now we're
talking. Oh boy. Somebody clip this. I need this. Zealous, I was gonna ask you something else, but I think I got all that I wanted. Thank you so much, and best of luck for tomorrow, so you can get the team that you're searching for, and best of luck for playoffs as well. That's gonna be hard on you as a coach. Good luck for Fearless.
Thank you.
I mean, but is he wrong?
I mean, look, Jorge's had a really good start to this split.
Yes.
He's been really, really good, and across a number of different champions, a number of different styles of play. You can't ask for that much more. I need to see it in the best of 5 against some of our other top teams. I think when you've got the likes of your nemesises in the league, when you've got No Ways and leaders who have been very experienced, at the very least at high-end ERL, for Nemes, of course, beyond that, it's a big deal. And this was a close fight for KAOS. I know, Solari, this was a replay you called, and it was about as close as KAOS got, really, this game.
There had a couple of fights like that, and I think the majority of the replays we have might just be KAOS having those good fights that unfortunately don't lead to anything. What I find is very interesting that actually combines all these fights that went good for KAOS together is that Ritto was such an important part in them. And I love watching this guy because we saw him in 2 games today playing 2 completely different playstyles with his champions. We saw a very reactive Poppy, and then we saw an extremely proactive Nico in this game right now. And in both cases, he was able to outshine almost anybody on his team.
And speaking of, he's on the Nico. He's about to find that miracle engage that might, in another world, have given them the turnaround. It was beautiful to see. And again, this is a guy who was a pro in Rocket League, was a pro in Heroes of the Storm. He's been playing a lot of games across a lot of very different titles. And this was looking like a great moment. The problem is, you've got a level 16 Darius with Ocean Soul who goes, I could go 2v4 here and absolutely eviscerate you. It'll be 2v5 in a second because Ambess is coming.
How many men
ridiculous.
does it take to kill this guy?
Ridiculous.
How is this a reality? He doesn't flinch. He doesn't flinch. He almost
Look,
gets
Ocean
half
Soul
HP,
plus multi-man decimates. You just get so much healing if you hit multiple people. And yes, he does eventually fall. You do actually need to hit people with your Q to heal, it turns out, on Darius. But still, it was another good game from Rich Gang. Yes, they overforced the one time and the Nico came on through. Yes, they died a little bit with the withdrawals, but you're playing with withdrawals. Of course you go really hard. That's half the point of having them. And it shows in the damage numbers. The Turtle didn't really get to have much fun on the Mbessa. Yeah, the Ezreal and the Aurora did a fair amount of work, but just across the board, Rich Jang were just doing more on a consistent basis.
Not that far away though, which is interesting. When you look into the big scheme of things, it's almost balanced out because the support deals so much and the Abessa is lacking on that department, but Nico compensates. It's an interesting damage delta champions. It's not all about damage. I know. Big numbers are cool, but at the end, whoever wins, wins. And KAOS loses this one versus Rich Gang, getting Rich Gang into the first place of Group B. But the problem is, who's taking second place? Well, that's a question.
OS!
That is going to be answered in a few minutes. But before we get into those minutes, we need a little pause before the heat picks up again. Group B will end up after next break, and I'll see you soon. Don't go anywhere.